Who are the top waiver wire pickups for week number 7? I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a great number of players that are like before. Each week seems to get a little lesser once you get to around week 5, week 6, week 7 each year. And the talent pool dropped off a ton from week number 6 going into week number 7. It's different from last week. Last week we had Taysom Hill, who I'll talk about in a minute because I think a lot of you are going to cut him and you're so mad at him for only rushing for 40 yards. But they didn't use him the way that we had hoped. He failed people in week number 6, and a lot of people are going to cut him, and I think that could be a mistake depending on your options. We'll go over that in a minute. But who on this list could be the number 1 overall waiver wire guy for week number 7? And do any of them rank high on the confidence scale? The confidence scale is something I created to let you know how confident I am in a player being the best pickup of the year. 10 being the best pickup of the year, 1 through 4, 1 through 5 being a no-go zone, not even close to being the best pickup of the year. Breaking down all this and more, the Fantasy Football Show.
It begins now.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty. Take a lap.
Okay, so right off the bat, Kenyon Drake is probably the number 1 ad of the week, coming off a big monster game. Dude ripped off a whole bunch of yardage and just took the job from J.K. Dobbins. And everybody's, confused. Like, J.K. Dobbins,
What happened, Smitty?
I thought this was the guy. I've been saying to sell J.K. Dobbins for a long time. Now, I think it's important to note that Kenyon Drake got 10 carries, J.K. got 7, Lamar Jackson got 7. Nothing's going to change. If you think you're looking at a running back 1 or even a high-end running back 2 in Kenyon Drake, you're mistaken. This is more of a one-week wonder than it is a consistent thing. But I think because he had so much success, they will give him at least equal volume to JK, or maybe a little bit more, until he falters, until he gets hurt. He's very injury prone. And so he's valuable to pick up. He had 10 carries for 119 and 1 touchdown in week number 6. So he had a big day. It was a big day. But again, he only got 3 more carries than J.K. Dobbins. We saw Dobbins have 2 TDs one week and then literally fall off the face of the earth, as I mentioned he would. And so I'd pick up Drake to maybe trade him. The value in getting Drake is that you couple Drake with a wide receiver, you can maybe go get, a Stevenson, or maybe go get a DK on the cheap, or figure out a way to use a running back that appears to be a starter in conjunction with a player that's doing well that you're not using, and going and getting a starter for your team. So he's valuable in a couple different ways, but I would trade him. Now, Pacheco's not available in a lot of leagues, but he's available in enough leagues, an uncomfortable amount of leagues, like 30%. Coming into week number 6, he got cut last minute by a lot of people. They couldn't afford to hold him while they're trying to fill double tight end spots. And some people had, their tight end injured. Some people had Pitts. They weren't sure about Pitts, so they were rostering a third tight end. There was all kinds of weird things going on as people were trying to fill that position walking into week number 6. He's available in enough leagues that I want to say, if available, he has the most league winning potential on this entire list of players. Meaning, if Pacheco's starting for KC, and I think it's not that crazy to imagine that happening very soon, he's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on the confidence scale of being the best pickup of the year, assuming he starts a handful of games or starts from like week 10 on. He could win you a league in your flex spot. So ultimately, like, even though Drake's right here, I kind of like Pacheco more. I don't know that you need to drop all of your fab dollars on him, because I don't know if available, everybody's going to look at him as that everybody's rushing to grab him. Someone's going to be crafty enough to be like, I'm grabbing Pacheco. I saw his involvement in week number 6. He could be the guy very soon. They love him in KC, and they do. Mahomes loves him. He's an aggressive runner. He could be a potential league winner. Him and Rachaad White and Khalil Herbert, who I think is still a potential league winner. Khalil Herbert, Rachaad White, these are all the only guys on the list that feel league winning. Jaylen Warren, Najee's struggling. So if Jaylen Warren gets in there, is he really going to be a league winner, or is he going to be a pretty good back that's a pretty decent running back 2, or a very good flex play? He could be like a 7 out of 10 or something like that. But Khalil Herbert, if Monty goes down and he's the lone starter, he'd be a 9 or a 10 out of 10 on the confidence scale. And even right now, with Monty not looking good, and with Khalil Herbert ripping off a big run in week number 6 and maybe solidifying more work again, and it's kind of an up and down relationship with you and Khalil Herbert, I know, but he still feels like an 8 right now. Rachaad White, even though we're waiting on a Leonard Fournette injury for him to be a 9 or a 10 on the confidence scale, he still feels like a 7.5 to 8 right now in his current position. Even though he's not getting a lot of work, he's a stash. You're waiting on Herbert. You're not really playing him yet. you could, with bye weeks and injuries coming up, he could be a decent play. And Warren could be too. Rachaad White could be, but these are stashes. Even Pacheco, you're probably not starting him yet, but he's a stash. They're win a league sleeping giants to a degree. And so the only other guy on here that I feel like could vie for the number one spot would be Deion Jackson if news broke that was very bad for JT, and I don't think it will. But let's say we're being lied to. Let's say the injury's a lot worse than they're letting on, and he's out for 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. Then Deion Jackson would be number one on the list. I don't think his win a league value would be higher than Pacheco's, because Pacheco's more of a, if he gets in there, he's going to crush it and win a league. Whereas unless JT's out for the year, he's going to have like 1 or 2 weeks of value. So he's going to be in here because he's valuable. But even though he's going 1, he's not ranking higher than some of these guys. But you could put him there. I'm going to put him right here for now. Put him like right there. Just as we wait on JT news. I do think JT will play, but we'll have more information on JT here today or tomorrow on his week 7 probability of availability. So stay tuned for that. If you need a wide receiver, you could rank Jacoby anywhere in the 2, 3, 4 range, but we'll put him right here. Allen Robinson, he's going to be inconsistent, but at least he caught a touchdown pass and he's relevant. He got cut in a lot of leagues. Joshua Kelly's interesting, getting volume. Wan'Dale Robinson is decent. He scored a touchdown. We'll know more on the divide between Boone and Murray. This is being recorded before the Denver game in week number 6. So, we might have more clarification. Boone could have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns and be the number 1 pickup of the week, or he could absolutely bomb. Murray could get a touchdown at 50 yards and be somewhere in this range or be the top pickup of the week, or both of them could be absolute garbage because Hackett doesn't know what he's doing. He's a Hackett job. Christian McCaffrey could get traded. Probably not anytime soon, but if he does, Foreman would be somebody to keep an eye on. We'll put Foreman down here. Kyron Williams, keep an eye on him as he comes back and maybe as he gets healthy tries to vie for carries in LA. And then Robert Tonyan, if you need a tight end, is probably right around that range. This is it. It's not a very deep free agent pool, but again, it kind of comes down to what you need. Do you need a stash? Pacheco. If he's available, honestly, if I felt like I had to, I'd drop a serious amount of money, but I don't think you'll need to. If he's available, just make sure you bid a little bit higher than the average big bid. Kenyon Drake, I'm not rushing to drop all my fab on him, but again, as I mentioned at the top, what are you waiting for at this point? I think if you've got the number 1 waiver wire pick in an order style, like a revolving pick order, then maybe you hold off using that top spot for somebody that gets cut that shouldn't be cut. Like someone cut Kyle Pitts in your league and you're like, oh my God, I get to pick him up now. Or somebody cuts Aaron Jones or something crazy like that. I'm holding that top spot. None of these guys, because I'd still think I could maybe get a shot at Pacheco without using the waiver wire claim once all the waivers go through. Or if I'm really struggling at running back, I might use it on Pacheco if he's there. But the rest of these, even Drake, I think I'd rather keep my number 1 claim for a potential drop. Like I said, somebody drops Aaron Jones and you're like, I get Aaron Jones. Someone dropped Swift in a league. Actually, 2 people last week told me that Swift was dropped, and they both picked up Swift in their league. And the league didn't reverse it. They just let it happen. Everybody just hoped they got him in the waiver order. The guy had the number 1 spot. One guy had a very late spot. They both got DeAndre Swift. Now, those are grandma leagues. I get it. But if you got the top spot in the waiver order, you might want to just hang on to it versus burn it. Now, as far as fab, I'm spending a decent amount on Pacheco, a decent amount on Drake to then trade him, a decent amount on White just to secure him. Same thing with Khalil Herbert. I don't know the dollar amount you need to drop. That's up to you using your league trending and data. I couldn't possibly know. Again, I got a league where I got to drop 100 out of 100 just to get a guy. In another league, you're laughed at if you drop more than 20%. You know your league. My confidence scale should guide you and push you in a direction to know how confident I am in liking that player. And I think I painted that picture pretty well with Pacheco and Rachaad White and Khalil Herbert, and how temporarily I love Deion Jackson. Temporarily, for trade reasons mainly, I like Kenyon Drake, but I'm not placing them or plotting them on this confidence scale very high. And Taysom Hill, I understand everybody's reaction. Taysom Hill didn't do what we thought he was going to do, but he's a tight end, and tight ends are going to have potentially 40-yard games. So he's no different than any other tight end that has an up and down game. And I think if you go cutting him and not realizing he's still a major weapon for the New Orleans Saints, I'm scooping him up if someone cuts him. And maybe you sit him if you feel like you got a better option for week number 7. But I'm definitely not cutting Taysom Hill walking into this coming week because he didn't drop a touchdown in 100 yards. That's all I got for week number 7 waiver wire ads. Drop a comment below if you've got a dilemma that I didn't cover. And get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com for your year-round rankings and bold predictions. And don't forget, I've got a text line where I actually answer all of your questions on demand. And you can get that at thefantasyfootballshow.com. So get on over there and check it out. Appreciate you all. Oh, and my buy low, sell high content coming in the next 12 to 24 hours. Get ready. There are still a couple big names. I told you Pittman last week. I told you Gabe Davis the week before that. I told you Austin Eckler the week before that. I've got a handful of guys that are still very good buy lows that can help you win your league. 12 to 24 hours. Those are dropping. Now get out of here.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.